Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Launceston man accused of seriously assaulting a 90-year-old woman in April this year has taken to the stand on day 2 of his Supreme Court trial. Shane Allen Weldon told the jury a request to jump over a fence triggered the alleged incident that ended with 2 people in hospital.
Shane Weldon sat in court with his arms folded as police officers described the moment they allegedly found him dripping wet and naked in a toilet. He's accused of 2 counts of aggravated assault and causing grievous bodily harm to Belray Dix on April 9 this year. Today he took the stand telling jurors he initially went to the home and asked a man in the backyard if Jeremiah was there. When the man replied he didn't live there, Mr Weldon asked if he could jump the fence but was told to go back the way he came. As he was escorted off the property, the 39-year-old thought he was about to be attacked. He told the jury there was a fight and he ran into the home, encountering the 90-year-old in a hallway. He said to her to get out of the way and saw her hit the ground. The jury also heard from police officers who said it took an entire can of OC spray to subdue Mr Weldon when he was arrested at a nearby home. In a 39-minute police interview, Mr Weldon claimed to have little memory of what happened to the woman. Asking police, "Did I hurt her? You tell us," was the reply. "I feel very bad about that," he said. Medical records for both the victims were also described to the court, with Belray Dix suffering multiple facial fractures and bleeding on the right side of her brain. Mr Weldon has pleaded not guilty. He's expected to continue giving evidence tomorrow. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
2 people have been charged following a 17-hour siege in Trevellyn and various other incidents in the past week. 24-year-old Brett Robinson Stacey and 40-year-old Naomi Mountney both pleaded not guilty to some of the charges put to them.
Brett Robinson Stacey's appearance in the Launceston Magistrates Court was brief as he entered not guilty pleas to a list of charges and asked for others to be adjourned. They relate to 3 alleged incidents, the first from Wednesday night, where he allegedly shot a woman in the leg at a New World Avenue home. The second, where a BP service station was allegedly held up at gunpoint on Thursday night, and a 17-hour siege which resulted in the arrest of Mr Robinson Stacey and 40-year-old Naomi Mountney. Mr Robinson Stacey's charges include aggravated assault, causing grievous bodily harm, armed robbery, possessing and recklessly discharging a firearm, and creating a common nuisance. He made no application for bail and has been remanded in custody until his next court appearance in February. While Miss Mountney appeared in court later today, she pleaded not guilty to aggravated assault, causing grievous bodily harm, discharging a firearm, and common nuisance. Other charges, though, were adjourned to a later date. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
The sister of a Newnham man stabbed to death has told a court a piece of her will be forever missing after the murder of her brother. Belinda Leonie Colburn and Nathan Thomas Smith both face the Launceston Supreme Court for sentencing submissions over the murder of Aaron Matthew Monaco. Today his sister Holly Mason White read her victim impact statement to the court, describing feeling fear and panic following his death in November 2016. Colburn and Smith will reappear in court on Thursday. The long-running fight for an appeal for convicted murderer Sunil Fraser will extend into next year, with a key witness to give evidence via video link in February. The DPP unsuccessfully argued for Colin McLaren to fly to Hobart to give evidence, saying it would be crucial for the outcome of the appeal. But his lawyer said Mr McLaren was too ill to appear in Hobart, saying to be cross-examined over 2 days would be like running a marathon. Justice Michael Brett said in the interests of justice he was eager to have the matter resolved as the appeal process has been running for over a year. The case will be heard on the 5th of February next year. Hobart's housing market is about to get a lot tighter, with the prospect of hundreds of students being turfed out of university accommodation. UTAS has written to people in its Hobart housing facilities saying they may lose their spot in preference of new students and those from regional Tasmania.
This is the letter that sent hundreds of students into a panic. telling them demand for the university's 1,100 rooms in Hobart is high and they should consider other options next year.
That letter said that UTAS is going to prioritise first-year students and those coming from rural and regional areas, and that we should find alternative accommodation before the 21st of January.
The university is trying to add more rooms to the converted Mid-City Hotel and develop the Theatre Royal Hotel. But at this stage, its accommodation is oversubscribed by about 400 people.
There's two issues really impacting upon our ability to provide accommodation. One of them is the tightness of the Hobart rental market. The other is that more of our students are opting to stay on or wanting to stay on.
I really feel like I don't have a lot of options. I mean, it's really, everyone knows how difficult it is to find private accommodation in Hobart for everyone.
The students fear they'll be flooding onto an already stretched rental market and cause more problems for the wider community.
There's nothing available. The housing market in Hobart is inaccessible, and I don't understand how hundreds of students are going to be able to find housing in about a month.
As UTAS faces heat from existing students, it's backtracking from an email sent to new international students, inviting them to skip the accommodation queue.
So that is a really unfortunate piece of text that we've issued that came out of our international division. It's not the position of the university, and in fact it was recalled when we became aware that that was sent out.
For those students lucky enough to keep their accommodation spots here, they face a rent increase of $18 a week. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's building height debate has been inflamed, with the Hobart City Council's Planning Committee recommending a strict 45-metre height limit for buildings in the CBD. It goes against the expert Woolley report that advised on a maximum of 75 metres in specific parts of the city.
We're pretty keen to keep Hobart as a low-rise city, a human-scale city, and a city that's respectful of its heritage. And once you start going up to buildings the height of the hospital, it does make it very difficult to retain that character of Hobart.
Relying on one person's report and then making the changes at the 11th hour, it does not send a message of confidence to the property industry in Tasmania or Tasmania's brand as an investment state.
The matter will be voted on by the full council on Monday. Expressions of interest applications have opened up for one of Tasmania's premier tourism destinations. The state government is looking for private investors to develop disused Crown land at Cradle Mountain, but the Greens say it should be kept in the hands of the public.
Cradle Mountain, a pristine location loved by hundreds of thousands of visitors every year.
It's one of the world's great destinations with infrastructure that just hasn't kept pace.
To support the increasing demand, the government is preparing to lease off Crown land, today opening an expression of interest process for private developers.
We want to be open to good ideas, so we don't want to be prescriptive, but we are thinking about accommodation, food and beverage offerings, retail space, and possible staff accommodation as well.
But the announcement's prompting criticisms that it should be publicly funded.
Because it's the state government's responsibility to support visitors who come to visit our spectacular protected areas.
It's outside of the National Park and World Heritage Area, with 5 parcels of land over 13.5 hectares available. It's hoped they'll be developed into a so-called tourist village to rival others across the nation, with a $5 million boost from the government.
This is potentially the most exciting development that's going to happen in Australian tourism over the next few years.
Today's launch of the investment prospectus is part of the Cradle Mountain Master Plan, but the Greens say there needs to be an open discussion about capping visitor numbers.
It's not only to look after those places and the cultural and natural heritage in those places, but actually to preserve a decent tourism experience for people visiting them.
EOI submissions close on the 28th of February next year. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania Police is reporting early success in the trial of electronic monitoring of family violence offenders. Police say a Sorell man breached conditions of an order, but because of the device, they were able to locate him and protect the victim. He's appeared in court on several charges, including approaching within 500 metres of a protected person and failing to charge the monitoring device. Tasmanians feeling lonely or distressed this Christmas are reminded help is only a call away, with Lifeline taking calls 24/7. The mostly volunteer-run organisation is in the midst of its busiest time of the year and expects to receive hundreds of calls on Christmas Eve alone.
If you need to reach out to someone during our Christmas period, if you're alone and you're struggling, call 13 11 14. There will be someone on the other end of that phone who will help and support you.
Tasmanians are also being urged to check on those in their community who may be doing it tough. Lifeline Tasmania has more than 60 crisis support volunteers.
Star Hurricanes import Hayley Matthews could be forced to sit out the remainder of the WBBL season after sustaining a knee injury during the side's win over the Melbourne Stars in Burnie on Saturday. It's a big blow for the side, with Matthews in solid form with both the bat and the ball over the weekend.
Because she offers both disciplines, so she's a good all-rounder. If it means that we don't have her, then we're probably having to find two people to replace one person.
Well, fellow international Smriti Mandhana looks poised for a big season in the absence of the Barbadian, following a player of the match performance, which saw her belt 69 runs off 41.
Atmosphere. They've been really brilliant to welcome me, and I think everyone's excited. Even I'm excited to be a part of Hobart Hurricanes.
The Canes take on the Sydney Sixers at Blunston Arena on Saturday night. The Kingborough Tigers can now boast one of the most exciting lists in the Tasmanian State League after former Hawthorn recruit Kieran Lovell turned down a string of offers from around the country to return home to his old club. After being delisted from the Hawks at the end of last season, the 21-year-old was in hot demand.
Offers all around the country, I guess, other state leagues, lots of different ones, but yeah, I think I just did a lot of weighing up, and I think I've made the right choice. I'm really happy to be here.
We announced it to the boys last night. You know, there was a lot of smiles and a lot of applause, and guys got around him. So it's just really good to have him home.
Lovell played just 2 games during his 3 years at Hawthorn, but helped the club's VFL side, Box Hill, clinch the 2018 premiership.
Looking to sort of pass on some knowledge that I've learned in the past few years to a lot of the younger boys around.
He's been at the best AFL club of the last decade. You know, he's been under Alistair Clarkson, Chris Newman at Box Hill, so he knows what's going on.
And after retaining the bulk of their senior list, along with the recent signing of SFL forward Michael Paul, the addition of Lovell to the Tigers midfield could prove key to turning around an underwhelming few years on the field.
The only expectation is we want to improve, we want to get better. You know, to be brutally honest, we won 3 games last year, so we're coming from a low base.
I spent a couple of weeks up here training during the pre-season, and I just really like the vibe around the place, and I think we're heading in a really good direction, and I want to be a part of that.
Good evening. A bit of cloud over the north and northeast today, but mostly fine, clear conditions. Hobart, Burnie and Devonport 20, Launceston a high of 24 degrees. Ouse reached 26, Strahan 22, Smithton, Friendly Beaches and the Islands all on 21, Low Head and Lyoweeney 19. So the cloud was mainly confined to the north and upper east coast, where low cloud was evident today. The rest of it, as you can see, is pretty clear. Much of New South Wales and southern South Australia found the cover as well today. Low level cloud over Queensland and the top end, plenty of cloud too over the Gulf with embedded thunderstorms. Tomorrow the high over our region drifts over the Tasman Sea. Troughs and low pressure systems are scattered over the mainland, a cold front clipping Western Australia. Winds north to northeasterly at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the northwest and the southeast. Winds light are about the west with afternoon sea breezes. Strong wind warning from Sandy Cape to Stanley and from Wineglass Bay to southeast Cape. Tomorrow, a sunny day for Hobart, 28 degrees, 29 for Geeveston, Bothwell okay as well, and 28 degrees. Launceston, sunny, fine, 26, 20 the top for Devonport, sunny for Cressy as well, and 26 degrees. Burnie, some possible drizzle, 19 the high, 30 for Strahan, a sunny afternoon in the west, and 21 for Curry with a late storm. And for St Helens, possible drizzle, 20 degrees, but sunny for Swansea and Orford, both on 21. UV, extreme statewide. On Thursday, rain extending throughout by the afternoon, possible thunderstorms over the north and west. Rain on Friday, more persistent over the north and east, heavy falls over the Bass Strait Islands as well. And those not so pleasant east to southeasterly winds on Saturday with the chance of heavy rain again. A possible early shower in Perth tomorrow, a shower or 2 for Adelaide and Melbourne, a shower as well for Canberra and Sydney, partly cloudy and 30 in Brisbane. Hobart, still sunny, 18 degrees at the moment, 21 in Launceston, and right now in Devonport it's 18 degrees. The rain later in the week may upset a little bit of sporting activity for most of us, but Joe, timing right for your hydrangeas?
Yes, the garden needs a good soak. Thanks very much, Murph.